Thanks very much. Thank you, Danny, for getting us into the wedding spirit there. I thought, who would it be appropriate to bring it up the wedding box? Obviously, my lovely wife is the ideal candidate. So this is a new policy. Yeah, you're married. A clap. This is a new policy that we've come up with for the Scottish Family Party. We wanted it to be a policy that people talk about, and when they think about the Scottish Family Party, they think, oh yeah, they're the bunch with that wedding box thing, aren't they? So you've probably watched unboxing videos on YouTube. Well, you have to wait a little while. I'm going to do the unboxing in just a minute. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the idea behind the wedding box first. Obviously, it's a little bit like the baby box. The Scottish government's bought in with the baby box is a nice idea. But the wedding box gets sent to couples when they register to get married. You have to register at least a month in advance, so there's plenty of time. So you get the wedding box. And if anyone in the marriage is getting married for the first time, then they get a wedding box. So everyone is basically entitled to one wedding box at some point in their life when they get married. So what's the point of it? The point of it is to promote a culture of marriage. That's a big emphasis for the Scottish Family Party. Why do we promote a culture of marriage? Because we care about people. We care about adults. Relationship breakdown is not good for adults. An emotional toll, a financial toll, everything you can measure, it has a detrimental effect. We don't want adults to go through that. We want to minimize the possibility of that. And one way of doing that is by promoting marriage. We care about children. Again, everything you can measure about children shows that things tend to work out best if they're brought up by mum and dad and they stay together. And marriage is a key element in that. The statistics are overwhelming. A huge, huge difference. So while picking up the pieces where things have gone wrong, okay, that's perfectly fine. But we want to get to the root of the problem as well. Prevention is better than cure. We care about the nation as well. We care about the government's finances. You can't just keep spending more and more money to solve more and more problems. It's unsustainable. We've got to get to the position where, as much as is possible, families are stable, self-sustaining, and enriching each other's lives and sustaining a happy and independent family life. So the wedding box promotes marriage. It celebrates each marriage. It communicates. It says to the people who are getting married, we value what you're doing. We think you're doing a good thing. We think you're doing the right thing. Maybe to couples who are considering getting married, it will say to them, you know what, that this is something, as a society, this is something we think is something that would be a good thing for you to do. It connects marriage with having children. I mean, there's not like a big poster in it that says you should get married before you have children. But the facts are that couples who get married before having children, things tend to work out far, far better. So the marriage box conveys an assumption, if you look at the things in it, that getting married, what comes next? Having children, in that order. So that's just an assumption that's communicated. And the wedding box, the contents of it, you'll see, they're designed to help marriages to succeed in terms of preparation for the marriage, reminders of the value, the marriage advice, help available, etc. Now, the potential impact of promoting a culture of marriage in Scotland could be absolutely phenomenal. It could be huge benefits in countless areas, the sort of areas where the government is basically tearing its hair out, trying to solve problems that seem intractable. This could really make a huge difference. Now, you may be thinking, and if you're of a slightly conservative mindset, you might be thinking, oh, where's the money coming from for this? You can't just keep spending money. Where's the money coming from? Well, I did a quick back-of-the-envelope calculation for the wedding box. £20 million a year, I worked out it would cost. And the Scottish Family Party policy to slash the budget of Education Scotland by about 80%. And hey presto, that's it. There's our £20 million. So we're killing two birds with one stone. We're providing the wedding box and simultaneously improving the quality of education in Scotland. But in the longer term, the savings and the benefits could be astronomical, out of all proportion to the cost. So the moment you've been waiting for, let's have a look what's in the wedding box. You can still hear me, can't you? On the right, great. Right, so on the top we've got the couple's name. If there's any Paul or Amy, it's a sign you're supposed to get married. So they've got the name on top. Let's see what we've got inside. Let's hope this is still in order. Right, first thing we've got is this is a set of vouchers, £60 each for anniversary meals. To go out for an anniversary meal at the first anniversary, second, third, fourth, seventh, 10th, and then every decade an anniversary meal. What's the point of that? Well, one of the points is it boosts the relationship. Maybe the couple have got into a bit of a rut. You know, they're busy with their everyday life. They're not really making time to be together. You know, maybe this going out for this meal would be a helpful thing. Then when they go for it, they'll tell their friends about it. They'll put it on social media. Oh, this is us at that anniversary meal. We're married. Marriage is good, isn't it? So that has been spread around. Now, what would happen when we introduced this policy? I mean, the Lib Dems, the Greens, the SNP, the Conservatives, Labour, what would they all be saying? They'd be saying it's discriminatory. It discriminates against people who are not married, against couples who are not married. To which we'd say, well, get married then. A simple solution. So there's the vouchers. That's the first thing. Right, number two, I'm holding bits of paper. Obviously, this is 2022. You wouldn't be giving people bits of paper. A lot of this would be online, but just to illustrate. Right, next thing, a honeymoon voucher. For a honeymoon in Scotland, £300 to spend at holiday accommodation in Scotland for 3 nights accommodation for the 3 nights after the wedding night. So it's not to pay for the wedding night. A lot of couples stay in the hotel where they've had the reception or whatever. It's not for that. It's for 3 days after then. Now, if you've got lots of money and you want to go somewhere exotic in another country for your holiday, I don't know, Seychelles, Florida, Blackpool, whatever, if you're like that, then this is no good for you. You'll leave that. You won't take this up. But if you're someone who's thinking, you know, really affording some sort of honeymoon, that's a real stretch. Yeah, going for 3 nights up in the Highlands or something, that would be fantastic. I'm not sure we could have managed that. Then that will help people with that. Now, that could maybe remove a barrier to some people who are thinking about getting married. They think, oh, it costs a lot of money. Then you have to go on a honeymoon, don't you? I'm not sure we've really got the money. You know, maybe we can't afford to get married. Maybe this would tip the balance the other way. You know, maybe we should get married. Yeah, a bit of a holiday afterwards, you know, that would be great. So, that's a honeymoon voucher. What else have we got? Right, another voucher. Marriage preparation sessions. For 3 sessions, could be with a minister of religion, could be with some other sort of relationship counsellor, but someone who's registered and experienced to provide some helpful advice to the people getting married. Now, I don't know about you. If I read, you know, a book about marriage guidance, I tend to look at it and think, I've heard it all before. You know, I heard this 40 years ago. I've got the idea of this. You know, communication, forgiveness, give each other space. Men and women are different in various sorts of ways. But for a lot of people, this is new. They go into marriages without these basic principles. So this marriage preparation could be very valuable. Now, you can't force people to take that up, can you? Well, not quite. But if you do take that up, if the couple do take up those sessions of marriage preparation, then they get the next thing, which is the fees of the wedding celebrant paid, the reasonable fees for the minister or the humanist celebrant or the imam or whoever's conducting the wedding, their fees paid. Okay, but only if you've been to the marriage preparation classes. There's currently a marriage registration fee, which we would abolish. We don't want to discourage people from doing something that we really want them to do. Right, number 5. A voucher to get either your wedding vows that you just signed with the registrar or a wedding photograph framed. So you take it along to a local framers, give them the voucher, they'll get it framed. Why is that? Partly because it's good for the couple to have a reminder of their wedding on their wall, of the promises that they made, and their commitment to each other. That's good. And also, it's on the wall. Other people see it too. Other people see it too. It promotes a culture of marriage. Remember when I was a housemaster in a boarding school, I always used to have a marriage photograph, my wedding picture, on the wall, because that promotes marriage. Those boys are going to think, Mr. Lucas, he thinks that's important. That's something that needs to go on his wall. So the more people do that, the stronger the culture of marriage. So a voucher for a framed picture. Right, what next? A card. Not just one card, quite a few cards. Because the system would be that if someone wanted to send their best wishes to the couple, they could send them a card. Who might want to do that? Maybe the local Church of Scotland minister, maybe another faith leader, maybe the local councillor, I don't know, maybe some other community figure, or just anyone. Anyone. I mean, what I could imagine is, let's say you've got an older couple who've been married for 50 years. They might say, I think it'd be really nice if we wrote a card to everyone who got married within such and such an area. And then every week or so, they'd write a little handwritten card to send to those people. So when you got your wedding box, there might be who knows how many, 3, 4, 5 cards with best wishes, maybe a bit of advice or whatever, valuing the wedding. So who could send that card? Anyone. But we say it needs to be the names have to be handwritten, and it has to be hand signed. We can't have, for example, a first minister saying, oh yeah, I'm going to print them out on the computer and send one to everyone. There's got to be a personal touch. It's got to be local. So if you wanted to do that, you just register which area you'd like to cover. Then when there's a wedding in that area, then you get the information and you can write your best wishes. We don't want to be used for commercial reasons. We don't like, best wishes on your wedding from Frank from the local pizza company at the 6th of the High Street. We don't do commercialized, but people who want to send their best wishes, then that would be really nice. So the people are feeling they've made the decision to get married, and there's lots of people that are supporting that, who are saying, right, that's a really good thing to do, and offering their best wishes. So, some cards. Right, what next? A sort of marriage advice book. I'm not saying this book. I haven't even read this book. I don't know if it's any good. It wouldn't be a book this big, probably something much shorter. Now, you may be thinking, who reads books these days? Fine, everything, you can have it online, you can have it in video form, podcasts, whatever. But there is some advice that's really useful for relationships. I think a lot of people go into marriages without having received that advice. They don't go through any preparation. They haven't been in a context where you hear about things, negotiation, I was saying sex differences, faithfulness, commitment, responsibility. Another crucial thing, where to get help if you need help. There are lots of organizations that can provide support. The Scottish Family Party policy to make relationship support, relationship counselling more freely available. So this would tell you where to get it. Now, the really important thing to say about this guidebook, it would be neutral. If you imagine if the Scottish government wrote this, it would be full of all sorts of their pet themes. It would be about, make sure your husband does enough parenting and you can go off to work, whatever. There would be all sorts of agendas coming into it. There'd be none of that. It would just be straightforward marriage advice. We think that could be valuable. Right, what next? Right, the big one. You probably see what that is. A book about conception, pregnancy, and childbirth. So it's medical information. This is a huge, great big book. It'd probably be simpler than this. So why is this book in here? Partly it's communicating an assumption. Marriage, having children, these things sort of go together. Now that you're married, having children is probably what you're thinking of doing. And some people might have already had children, okay? Fine. But it's just communicating that assumption. But there are lots of important things to do with conception and pregnancy. Fetal alcohol syndrome is a major problem, etc. So that's very relevant information, and it communicates a good message. Right, we're almost there, if you're wondering. I feel like a magician here, pulling rabbits out of the hat, just one after another. Right. A parenting guidebook. Now again, if you imagine the Scottish government provided a parenting guidebook, it would be awful. It would be full of all sorts of assumptions and guidance. It would not be good. But this would just be completely straightforward and neutral. And it would explain about the childcare system. What options have you got? It would explain about the school system. How does that work? How does the nursery system work? How does home education work? What's the law with regard to children? So there'll be a lot of useful information there for parents. Again, partly it's got useful information, partly it's communicating. This is a package. Now you're married, this is what you need to know, because that's associated with having children. Right, the last thing in the box. Again, not this particular book, but what we'd want is a guide to marriage finances, the tax system, the benefits system. I mean, if the Scottish Family Party had its way, there'd be lots of benefits of marriage, tax allowances, etc., they'd be able to say about. There's not much to say about at the moment, but what there is could be explained. Trust funds, saving for children, responsibility, financial responsibility. A major cause of relationship breakdown is financial problems. And where do they come from? In many cases, it comes from debt. So the danger of debt, the importance of responsibility will be outlined in this simple little book. All right, so we're almost there. Now, that's everything done. We've just got the box itself. What's the box for? Well, the suggestion would be to use the box as the family treasure box. I don't know if you've got a box like that. We've got one in the attic. What goes in it? The children's teeth. The thing they made out of clay at nursery. The rock they tripped over when they broke their teeth or something. Well, whatever, just photographs, mementos. The family treasure box. You could suggest that people might like to use it for that. So when the children in the future come to look at their memories of family life, what context this is in? It's in the context of marriage. So that would be a positive message as well. There's one thing our lawyers suggested we needed to add as well. You're aware with the baby box, the idea is that you can actually put the baby in it to sleep. So our legal team said to us, you need to put a little disclaimer to prevent any misunderstanding. This is not intended for the married couple to sleep in. So there's the wedding box. Now, we hope that's a really positive and original policy, and we would like it when people think family party, people think, oh yeah, that's the bunch with the wedding box, isn't it? So talk about it, explain it to people. If people say to you, what's the family party all about? Maybe that could be a nice place to start for them. I certainly think it would be. Because promoting marriage is so central to what we're doing. And where are we starting from in terms of public understanding of the value of marriage for adults, children, wider society? We're starting from a very, very low base. Most people just haven't got any idea of the concepts involved. And hopefully this will help people to understand and to value culture and to see the culture of marriage and to see the priority we place on promoting it. So, thank you very much.